So I'd like to talk about Gojo and Sukuna's fight. Now, I've never made a very anime heavy video on any channel I've done on YouTube, but I want to talk about something that I don't know if anyone's seen coming, but to me, uh, certain things are not accidental. I feel like everything, even the randomness in the universe, has some sort of purpose. Like even randomness itself is a form of how can I say consistent synchronicity. I think that's the best way to put it. Synchronicity, a consistent synchronicity where even randomness or events that appear to be random are not random, but they're meant to appear random to almost keep you guessing on what's going on. But everything, once you raise your mind to a certain level, is happening within a continuum where it's like, I don't know, hopefully whoever gets that message is forever. But that's when it comes to the whole Gojo and Sukuna little thing that happened. When Sukuna, spoilers by the way, if you don't know about Gojo and Sukuna's little fight from the manga, that's what this will be covering. So you were warned if you're still listening at this point. But Gojo was killed by Sukuna. Now there is a bunch of what people like to call copium and coping for Gojo and how he was off screen and all this and blah blah blah. But I want to talk about specific things. Now, guys, I am a very gift the gab type of person where I'll talk forever, so try to bear with me. I'm not really, edit savvy right now with pulling a bunch of manga panels and throwing that all together. I do have the ability to do it, but I'm way too lazy. So I just want to talk about the signs that I seen coming when people were talking about this big fight coming and me even following along with the fight and almost being shocked at Gojo losing. Well, here's one thing that I don't think people took into account, but also I got to remember that we're all humans and the whole thing with perspective and blah, de blah, everyone's going to see something different. What I realized at the level that I'm at of just understanding things is that there are signs. Signs are dropped everywhere. And people were shocked, right? One of the biggest red flags for me, but hype for the upcoming fight was Gege Akutama, people saying that Gege doesn't like Gojo or Gojo's too strong or things of this nature, right? And I'm sure you've heard the whole thing. Many YouTubers in the anime community talk about the whole thing about, being the strongest. When you're at the top, it's hard for people under you to really understand, or not under, but at your level to understand what it's like to be the strongest or being lonely, right? And this to me it almost translated to real life as consciousness itself, or almost being on a spiritual journey, right? And I want to throw in a little thing with that later, but I'll save it for a little bit later, with people theorizing that Gojo is going to be reincarnated in this whole thing. Well, if you I'll touch on this later because I'm going to go off on a whole rant because I could talk forever. So, but what I want to say about the whole thing is Gege didn't like Gojo. That was my first red flag. Another thing was how Gojo's enlightenment made him. I want everyone to understand something here. Gojo, when they were taking the manga text for word, like they were literally taking it word for word. That is the whole point. Gojo was supposed to have you as convinced as his students or as everyone was watching him that he was the shit. Have you ever seen an MMA fighter go into a fight and go and be like, say it's a fight that they're, here's the thing about a fight too, before I even say this, you never know the outcome of a fight, no matter what. You don't know the outcome of a fight. So the whole basis of how you want to approach a fight is being confident. It doesn't matter if it's overconfident, if you're being arrogant, whatever emotion ye need to fuel thee. But any emotion that you need to fuel yourself before a fight, to keep the energy up, to match a beast that you're going against. I'm sure this person in their mind thinks you're a beast too, depending on, I guess your track record, right? But you're not going to go into a fight doubting yourself. So people were almost taking the literal words that Gege was having Gojo say, which is his personality, so it makes sense that, Gojo was saying these things, as law, as the Bible, which you should. But the point that they were missing is that a lot of things during the fight, trust me, but the whole point that they're missing is Gojo isn't going to sit here and say, like, we're not going to get a flash of his inner thoughts of him literally going, ooh, man, Sukuna's got me on the ropes. Like, damn, you're trying to make me look bad in front of my students? Like, damn, man, like, well, he kind of hinted at that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like the things you got were this cocky kind of, and I don't want to even say cocky, but Gojo was in a sense. But you see the confidence, because two separate things. You see where he was like, it's not over yet. My students are still watching me. It's like, yeah, Gojo's going to be talking about this because he said himself, like from the beginning of the series, if Sukuna gets all his fingers back, it's probably going to be a problem. But that in itself was Gojo underestimating his opponent. Another thing that was a huge red flag for me, and why I thought Kashimo and Sukuna fighting was going to be a way better fight than Gojo's fight, which, that's still going to go on. People have their assumptions about that. Who knows? I really like I really like Kashimo. But another thing that people don't understand is this is a guy who's along his life, because if you got to think about it, if Sukuna is literally 1,000 years old, that experience of 1,000 years is way different than a man who has achieved enlightenment at one moment within his lifetime. You have to assume that Kashimo, Sukuna, and Gojo have all hit this point of enlightenment during their life, right? But here's the thing about that, is Sukuna has literally, it's like, I want to say how I understand it for myself, and you can disagree or agree with this, whatever. He has kept his consciousness alive, scattered in body parts. Like, this man is the cursed spirit himself. And think about Kenjaku too. That's why, some people, I don't know if people underestimate Kenjaku or whatever it is, but the thing is these mofos right here were able to stay alive eons. Like they're alive, bro. Like, they are staying alive. They're keeping their consciousness along in the stream. And we know that consciousness exists before the body. So it's the soul. And you see where all the inspiration Gege gets from the multiple religions and spiritual, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to cram it all together because it's like the signs were right in front of you on what was going on. It's like Sukuna was way more experienced than Gojo. It doesn't matter if you have the six eyes or not. It's like someone whose experience is going to beat you at the end of the day. Like more experience. It's like education versus experience. I've made this video before in the past. It's like the person, who would you want to do your surgery? And I'm actually taking this from somebody, so shout out to them. But who would you want to do your surgery? A student who studied at Harvard but never performed a heart surgery, or the person who's not studied at Harvard, kind of like an underground dude, but he has a 90% success rate on heart surgeries because he performed 80 different heart surgeries. And out of those, fucking 10 of the people died. Because did I say 90%? Who knows? But you get my point. It's like, do you want to go with the person who's never had the experience of actually doing the surgery but studied it, and to a T they could read you every goddamn thing that their professor said, that they read in books, that the right tools to use, the right amount of anesthesia to put someone under? Do you want that, or do you want the person who really just got in there, did it, and hey, he needed to attempt it on some people, and it's kind of like some got to drop so we can all succeed kind of thing. It's like Sukuna has that over Gojo, man. This dude has managed to stay alive. So it really just felt like coping of people used to animes where you just got an overpowered character that you want to see yourself as, which that's not bad. None of it is bad in its outright, but the coping was strange to me of how it happens for anime, because it's almost like, I want more. I don't know if it's grungy is the right word, but I want more animes where it's like a Kami Ga Kill, where you got people getting wiped out. I'm not going to spoil a Kami Ga Kill, but you got characters that you like getting wiped out. And that's why, I'm hyped for the future of Demon Slayer. That's all I want to say. But I'm not going to spoil none of that. But you see what I'm saying? It's like, I could tell from the beginning Jujutsu Kaisen was working up to shit like that when you see the body count that starts racking up with certain characters. But, I guess if you're watching this and you're not, you're caught up in the manga, but that's just what I'm saying. It's like, I think it was written beautifully. I really do, because I want to talk about another thing about Gojo's personality. And if you're at the Kashimo fight right now, you see too. Do you see how Sukuna is saying, like, Kashimo, you're just like Gojo, you're so greedy? And like the girl that Sukuna talked about said she should have had that conversation of love to y'all, because Gojo felt lonely and Kashimo felt lonely. But to me, I knew exactly what Sukuna was going to say before he says it, because when I talk about consciousness and my whole spiritual journey too, it's a lot of the things I've learned and created in my life and used like the law of attraction to bring into my life are not the orthodox, or it's an unorthodox method, right? Is that the saying? It's an unorthodox method to ways that people are used to. When people talk about, oh, you got to eat vegetables, or you got to do this, or you got to do this, it's like, bro, I have literally bolstered my mind to a level where it's like things that I think of literally just end up appearing in my reality, sometimes in the same week, maybe 2 weeks down the line. But when I thought about Sukuna, he literally said, I do not feel lonely. Like, it's you two saying y'all feel lonely at the top, but literally look at all the people like around me trying to fight me for, like, almost like feel honored by fighting in my presence. It's like, that is love within itself. And that, funny enough, with Sukuna being the fallen, another sign, and this whole thing, it's like, it just makes me think about the fallen, the fallen angel, Lucifer, blah, blah, blah. Thinking about all these stories, it's like, bro, he's kind of like literally one with nature, and he does what he wants. It's not really for good or bad. Like, you have to look past that too. I've seen YouTubers say that too. It's like, this dude is a menace. I mean, he's eating people, which, yeah, you bring the humanity part of it. This dude is a monster. But when you look at it from a consciousness point of view, from a occult standpoint, there's the line between good and bad. It's like it's just a matter of perspective. Because in Sukuna's eyes, he's truly doing what he wants. Not to be better than anyone, not to be the strongest, not to do this. He just is eating when he wants, when he wants, blah, 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 literally committing some sins. But again, if you look at it from an unbiased standpoint and you look above duality, he's just the other side of the coin. Because what's Gojo? Gojo's the same. And honestly, you see it too. Gojo looks down on people. Some people would say Gojo looking down on people is what he should do. He is the strongest. A lot of people can't beat him. Some would literally they would justify, they would justify his personality and how he acts towards people. But then you can see people who don't like someone who's overconfident or should relax a little bit, who would probably say Gojo's attitude is a problem. Shit, they show you in the show. But the point is Gojo probably understands this by having the 6 eyes. He understands that it's a middle ground, like that he has chosen, just like Geto, when the whole backstory happened, just like Geto, he was at that midpoint and he just chose a way to act. But his consciousness is evolved to a point where he can understand Sukuna. But it's like, there's, when that got revealed, I was like, oh my gosh, that's literally beautiful writing, because it's like Gege understands this. There is a point in your life that will happen for you where you will get rid of the line, or, Kashimo and Gojo are still at this point. It's almost like they're riding the edge where it's like, but Gojo gave it his all. And even in Gojo's kind of send off, when it showed the whole afterlife thing, vision, when he was going through that, and they were saying, I've heard someone say that he was breaking the laws or whatever, but it's like, in the real world, see, I don't want to say that because it's anime and I don't know how many people are actually into like spirituality and consciousness outside of it. But that world that he was in, that little limbo state, makes sense for me, because it's like he's in the astral plane. So it's like part of him is still fading, like his life is fading. So of course his soul is probably going to be fucking OP, and a part of it is going to exist in the astral plane. And they say after you die, you can get stuck in the astral plane, which we all go to when we sleep. So no, to me, he wasn't really breaking the laws of jujutsu. It's just normal. But again, people don't get, I know that some people aren't into that. So to me, it just made sense. It's like all shit that I understand. That's why I go nuts for even demons. Like all these concepts are revolving around the mind, a fight, a good or a bad side, and then the gray area where it's like that Sukuna exists in the gray area to me, where many people would see him as this evil motherfucker. And it's like, yes, he definitely is. But if you look at him from, the removed from the argument view, where it's like it's not a matter of a good or evil fight, he is truly doing what he wants. It makes so much sense. Like he is technically what it is to be enlightened. But and technically Gojo too, because throughout the show and the manga, you see Gojo technically doing what he wants. Geto stopped him from killing all those people in the beginning, but that's the state that Sukuna was at. So it's almost like if Gojo, it's like almost, okay, there's a moment too where Sukuna tells Jogo, like that mindset that you have, basically how I'm flipping it is, and he says it to him, you could have been the strong, smile in the end and blah blah blah, and saying that to him, as to where Gojo looked down on Jogo when they fought, saying like, you can't touch me because you're weaker than me. Sukuna doesn't do that, and that's also what made me realize that Sukuna was going to beat Gojo, because Sukuna honors all those he fights, and thus is the whole thing of love, where he finds his love, where he finds love within. Now Gege's not outright saying that; it's still saying that like Sukuna doesn't need love. But I think that's exactly what he's hinting at, is the whole point of even saying that the girl that was with Sukuna, I'm not saying her name right because I don't remember. Because it's very, very vague. I'm following a lot of stuff and then focusing on so many other things. So it's like the names aren't coming to me right now. But the girl he talks about who tried to show him love, the one that actually tried to show him love in his life or whatever, and teach him it. And he said that she should have had the conversation with Kashimo and Gojo. I think that was just a little nod at the fact that he doesn't feel alone and he does know love, but he's not going to admit that again on the battlefield, because what did I say? It's this whole keeping up this facade, but it actually strengthens you. Again, affirmations and creating realities and being strong within your mind. Geto says it in Yuta's battle. Self-affirmation is one of the most powerful things. I don't even know why I took this long to make this video, man. This is like right in my ballpark of what to talk about, but the signs were all over for me. The way Sukuna acted, the way Gojo acted, it just felt like Gojo was going to meet his end. It's not by chance. None of this is by chance. It just made sense. And hey, if y'all really want to cope, just say in someone universe out there, Gojo did beat Sukuna. There you go. We live in a multiverse, right? So in one reality, there was an author that was Akatama Gege, or his name in reverse, and he actually made Gojo beat Sukuna. Cope that way. That'd actually be the funniest coping video. But in truth, to me, I already seen it coming, especially when people said he didn't like Gojo, and the fact that, there's also someone else I said seen say that Gojo would not die because still the whole world he envisioned for his students to make this new world that he had planned, where he was building up people he trusted to just do the right thing. Again, another gray area, because what my right world looks like to yours is different. Again, Gojo's and Sukuna's world looks different. Their whole world outcome, I hope that's obvious. But that he is going to reincarnate or come back into the fight because he still needs to see that world created. Here's what I'm going to say to that. That could very well be, Gege could pull something out his ass and holy shit, that becomes a thing. That'd be cool. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm just enjoying the story for what it is. All aspects. Whoever dies, Sukuna could have been beaten and I still would have enjoyed it. Didn't matter. But I don't think Gojo's coming back, because that is what it seemed like it was setting up to be. That he already set up he kept saying, how Sukuna told Jogo that he could be the strongest if he didn't have, if his mindset was different, or just his values, or just things he went after. That's almost how he was making it seem, right? Well, think about Gojo saying that Hikari and Yuta and my students are going to surpass me. Well, if a dude like Sukuna could pass Gojo, but everyone was hyping him like he had the 6 eyes, I think very well Yuta can. Yuta, Hikari, these dudes can. Again, we've seen Kashimo push, his technique pushes him past the limits of a human, which to be fair, we didn't really see like a technique like that come out of Gojo. So that's where I'm saying like a part of his consciousness he must have been holding back. And I even think about this for when the dude, that one guy with the cannon on his head, sorry guys, I was really bad at remembering these names, talked to Yuta and said like, you could be the strongest, and he said, I'm not willing to sacrifice that part of me or whatever that makes me human or something, like Gojo and Sukuna. I think that's what the reference was, unless I'm literally just translating it now in my head from a scene that I read in the manga, and I'm like, oh, this is what I took it as. But it's like, that's what I mean. It's almost like Yuta's not willing to go over that step, but it's like Gojo seen this in Megami and all of them, that they could surpass him, which would make sense that Sukuna beat him, because it's like, you don't need the 6 eyes to be the strongest sorcerer. Or it's almost like Gege is showing you that the 6 eyes, it doesn't matter. And then there's the whole Sukuna adaptability thing. That was so fucking fire, bro. That was the coolest shit ever. And I love how all the Jujutsu Kaisen fights are structured, to be honest, and how you see them adapting in fights, and the anime adaptation is doing a really good job about doing it. But anyways, going back to this whole the whole thing is about Gojo coming back. I just don't think he is. Why would you set your students up to basically be the cannons who are going to come in and start banging, and you're going to come back to life? And even if he came back nerfed, I mean, okay, cool, shit, do it. But the explanations some people are giving, they're free to give, but they don't convince me, because it's just like you were setting your students up to basically create the new world if you were gone. And we seen that when he went in the prison realm. So it's like, yo, Gojo technically does not need to be around. I think his students are going to bang. And that's it. And they got straight to hopping Sukuna. So it's like, I think he's good. Let the man rest. Like, it's almost like, let him rest. It's like Gojo's like the Tupac. Tupac's still alive. Gojo's still alive. Let the nigga rest if he's dead. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. But anyways, it's for Goj Pac and shit. I'm done with Goj Pac for now. But I seen also someone talking about the whole metaphysical concepts and the Eightfold Path and something about Buddhism and all that. And Gojo chose the North Path and all that. To what I will say with that. If Gojo hit a level in enlightenment with his fight with Toji, right? And he felt content in his death, that's the whole ending of reincarnation, by the way. I heard someone say, like, that is showing that he was going to reincarnate. No, you're missing the point. If you feel that feeling of content, then, okay, I need to reference a book when I say this. The Isis Thesis, Judy K. King. I think that's the author. Yeah. She literally writes that something in your DNA will activate if you feel like you have no purpose here. So cancers and things like that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, Gojo was content with his life at that moment. So will his essence reincarnate? It can if he feels like he has unfinished business, or maybe he wants to see the new world. I feel like his visions will be, or his memories will be wiped, obviously. That, that's stories about reincarnation, how it works. I don't want to get into myself, but if you think about Gojo's lineage and his family, technically everyone who inherits the 6 eyes has an essence of the person that came before them, almost like the Avatar. This is what I like to believe. So technically, yes, Gojo will reincarnate, but will it be in this time? No. Unless they do the Final Destination and there's a baby just that is born at the exact death of Gojo type shit, and the baby has the 6 eyes, and they're about to throw a baby in the fight against Sukuna. Take this. Sukuna, you like adrenochrome? Okay, I'm out. I hope someone still watching this video got that joke. That's insane. You're based if you did. But other than that, yeah, man, like Gojo coming back, no. If he was content in his death, but he was, he felt bad that he couldn't go fully out against Sukuna. It's like, you guys got to take what Gojo is saying serious, man. It's like, y'all wanted to take that Gojo was going to win and him talking confident. My students are still watching to heart. Well, then take to heart that the man said he didn't even get to go all out. I know half of these mofos are doing it for fun. That's exactly why I'm doing it for fun. But, Gojo's content, and that means his reincarnation is technically done. If he's completely content, his students got it from here. That in spirituality, that means your path is done and you're complete. But if you still have stuff to work out, you would reincarnate. But no, if he was content, like, hey, I'm with Ghetto now, I'm with everybody, blah blah blah, we're all good. Like, he's done. That means he's done. He's not coming back. At least in all of my studies, he's not coming back. He's content with his life. He doesn't need to go through more lifetimes to learn anything else. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that video. That was very fun to make. Again, it's all fun. You believe what you want, and at the end of the day, you're the master of your own mind. And what you take from art that Gege created, art is subjective. So enjoy it. Peace out. Love y'all. Peace.